Hello, folks, and great to have you here. Let me just check what. Yeah, we're cool. We've got people. Okay, so hello, folks. Sorry, a bit addled this morning. Today, my poor daughter was waking us up at half 12 and half 1 and half 2 last night because the poor little dote was having nightmares. And a blonde cherubic 4.5-year-old crying in her bed because she's upset. It's just it gets to the heart. But it meant it was after 2 before I fell asleep. So I'm sorry if I am not as vibrant as I normally am. Okay. So anyway, hello all, and welcome to Fey Earth, an indie TTRPG set in an alternate 19th century Earth where all the creatures from folklore and fairy tale are real, have always been real, and live alongside humanity. Okay? Our game is set in the year 1872. Our heroes are in Paris. Been very busy getting up to lots of different shenanigans. But rather than me tell you about it, how about one of our players give us a recap of our last session?
I can. I'm just sorry, I need to jump back. Oh, I'm not muted, Grant. Sorry, I'm jumping between Twitch and our meet. Okay, so we decided that we were going to see what sort of shady stuff Monkirk was up to because Gwynn had previously cast Locate Person and she had determined that he was in some dodgy warehouse in a slightly less desirable part of Paris. So off we went. Anki and Sylvia went in to spy. Sylvia took the form of a mouse and we saw Monkirk and he has a little workshop. He was working on some sort of a glove. He is back to his shady shit, but this time he's at least working with people who are volunteering for stuff. The first customer was some dude who was looking for an arcane lock, or arcane lock pick. But then the second guy called Vago was getting some glove thing, which he then seared into his flesh. That sent the smell sent Sylvia running out of the warehouse and she was violently sick in an alleyway. But basically it's some sort of a fire glove thing that'll allow him to basically for fire or something, we think. So yeah, he is up to no good and a shady as hell character. But in the meantime, we've got a ball. We're not sure if we want to take him on just yet. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, so you get 1d8 inspiration die to use at any one point in the game. Now, can I just ask in chat, is my audio okay? Because I'm getting a very slight weird reverb in my headphones, but I'm not sure if it's my Google Meet, if it's OBS or something. But could somebody? How do I feel to you guys? Is my audio okay to ye? Yeah. Okay. And if anybody in chat, if anybody wants to know, is the audio okay? Because it's just I'm getting it. It's gone now, but it was there a minute ago, and it's a weird reverb I'm getting.
Ooh, I can kind of hear it now myself.
I don't know. Does anybody have their audio? Is anybody on Twitch right now with their audio on? Because that could be creating an echo.
I'm muted.
Okay, so.
Yeah, and
for sure.
It's muted for me.
I mean, I'm on Twitch, but I'm muted.
Okay, well, nobody in chat is saying that my audio is not okay. So hopefully it is good and we will just continue with our fun Fey-filled shenanigans. Okay, so as you said, yes, the next thing on your agenda is this ball. So you've been told that your dresses will be ready like the day before the ball, the Friday before the ball, okay? Is there anything that any of ye had planned? It's a week's time till you get your dresses, 8 days till the ball. But if you don't have anything planned, stuff that you wanted to do, I'm happy to do a time skip.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amanada probably would have just been working.
Cool. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Well, then we're just going to do a time skip, okay? To that, okay? So, the day before the ball, Sylvia and Justine, you go to the dressmakers, Angélie, Sharon, and you get your, like, she fets the dress, she checks your dresses, obviously, okay? She doesn't just hand them to you. You try them on in the shop. She helps you get into them and make sure that the fit is good. She is exceptionally good at what she does. And the reason she's able to do these elaborate dresses so quickly is because she gets quite a lot of enchanted needles from Joséphine Gaultier, which is why Joséphine uses her. She gets like a discount
Mm-hmm.
from Angélie because Angélie's providing her with enchanted needles so that she can get these dresses done exceptionally quickly. Okay, um, like enchanted needles will often be for things like just doing simple straight running seams, but um, chatting to her, she tells you that Josephine has actually even been able to make enchanted embroidery needles, which is just like that's next level, you know, because modern sewing machines exist in 1872. They have started to appear. They've been around for I don't know, maybe 10 years or more now. I think approximately. I think it was about 1860s when they first started appearing. I think. Please don't quote me on it and don't report me to Bernadette Banner, but but
Hey, if there's anybody who'd know.
but enchanted needles have been around for literally centuries, you know, and sometimes an exceptionally skilled and artistic artificer can make enchanted needles that will do things like embroidery, and that's like next level. You can't do embroidery on a sewing machine. You can make a garment and do very strong stitches, seams that are stronger than hand sewing, but that's what this is great for. Okay, so anyway, the dresses are ready, the fit is perfect. Sylvia, you're very happy to see that with the raised collar
Mm-hmm.
and neckline that came around the shoulders, that the scars on your upper back and shoulders are completely concealed, which is something that you were very conscious of and very worried about, but you are confident that they are completely concealed. Okay?
I don't even recognize myself, I guess.
No, you don't.
Probably.
You,
Just like,
you you've never worn anything like this, and
no, not even close.
I mean, Justine, you had some very, very fine dresses growing up, but nothing on this level, you know? Like, as I said, like, these are pretty extravagant dresses. They were quite expensive. The money you put on these is the kind of money that would feed a family for, like, easily 5-6 months, you know? Could you have gotten more expensive dresses? Yes.
Absolutely, but yeah.
You know, that's like somebody saying, oh, this dress wasn't that expensive. I didn't spend 100,000 euros. I only spent 5,000 euros. You know, like they were while Justine, you would have had some very lovely dresses growing up. This is at another level, okay? And you're feeling quite lovely as well. Okay, so
Okay.
So very, very important question for you all, okay? And this is more so for the party members who have goblin purses. What are you bringing with you to the ball? Obviously, Justine, you'll be bringing Anglegon, that goes without saying. But who has a goblin purse? I know Gwynn does.
Yes, I have one.
Nina has one, but she's not there.
She's not here. Does no, Amanada doesn't have one yet because the legendary ring she couldn't get one. And I can't remember. Does Justine have one? So it's just Gwynn. Are you bringing your goblin purse and kind of arranging it so that it's under your dress or hidden in your folds of your dress or something?
Always, yeah. 'Cause a lot of my extra bits and bobs for amulets are stored in there. So if anyone wants to hide anything away, that's absolutely fine.
And likewise, Justine and Sylvia and Gwyn as well. Are you bringing your mana receptacles?
Of course. Yeah. Gwyn is always dripping with the amulets that she currently has, power points wise. They're always on her.
There's nothing. There aren't any kind of pockets or anything in this dress that we like. That you could slip something in.
Sylvia, I will happily say that we can happily retcon it that you would have asked Angelique to make a discreet pocket. That's zero issues with that at all.
Can I have a secret pocket too, please?
I assume that all Amanata's dresses come with secret
pockets for everybody.
I just assume that that's all of her garments, you know.
Absolutely, secret pockets everywhere for the finger discount.
But Sylvia, certainly, if you want to say that you'd asked Angelique if she could create a secret pocket, maybe something hidden in the bustle or something like that, then she would have done it.
I just realized this is actually going to be the first time that Sylvia has gone anywhere not wearing her hunter marking or her wedding ring.
Well, I mean,
because she wore them on a chain.
She's not wearing her wedding ring.
Well, no, she's always worn it on a chain under her dress.
And it would be like your neck, your neck and bust line is visible on this dress.
She's not going to wear. She's not going to wear
collar,
army. She's not going to wear her army dog tags with a ball gown.
Of course.
Come on.
Prussian Hundermarken would look a bit weird with that fabulous dress. So.
But this is the first time she's gone anywhere without them, so it's just
as I said, Sylvia, if you want to say that you would have asked Angelique to make you a discreet pocket hidden in the folds of the dress or in the bustle, then by all means that's not an issue at all. I don't care. It adds to the narrative, so why would I care? You know? Absolutely. Justine, did you want to say something there?
Yeah, and I also think that the mana receptacles that Justine made, they were semi-precious stones, so they're not some cheap stuff. And like obviously they're not at the level of the dresses, but I spent I think 10 gold on each, so
they are quite lovely.
Sylvia's gonna wear hers.
No, they are quite lovely. You are like, they would be not quite on the level of what women would be wearing with ball gowns like this, but at the same time they don't look like cheap costume jewelry either. They are quite lovely.
Sylvia's gonna wear hers.
If anything, you could say they're quite bohemian because they are very much not the fashion trend.
Love it.
Sylvia's gonna wear hers.
So we could say that Sylvia is making a fashion statement with this piece. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Fabulous.
Okay, so
work.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. So okay, right. Super. Now Sylvia, Justine, Amanati, you are making your own way to Joséphine Gaultier's house. You have the address.
Yeah,
we'll
get a cab.
You can get a cab, absolutely. You can get a handsome cab, not a problem. Okay. For any of our viewers who are like, why do they keep saying cab? Why do they use this modern term? It's not a modern term. It's an actually historic term. The word cab comes from the term hansom cab, which was the name for the horse-drawn carriages that people would rent to get around cities, and then that term continued on when modern automotive taxis took over that job of the horse-drawn carriage. So cab is not a modern term. It's not an Americanism. It's certainly not a Hiberno-English-ism. It's actually the correct historical term for this form of public transport in the late 19th century in Europe. So yes.
Actually, I have a question. What does our landlady say when she sees us in our
she loves it. She
absolutely insanely fancy gear.
She absolutely loves it. She's blown away by it, and she especially loves your dress, Sylvia, because yours is a slight level of modesty that you don't normally get because your shoulders are covered. So your bust line and your cleavage is still there. But it's not like your boobs are falling out. You know, there is still a bust line and cleavage, but your shoulders are covered. which is a level of modesty you normally don't get with these dresses. And your landlady, who is a devout Catholic, she's like, she really loves that you did this. She's like, you're going up in her estimations now, you know? I mean, she still knows you're a filthy Protestant, but you know, you're one of the good ones.
Well, Sylvia's probably fucking atheist now at this stage.
100%.
Don't tell her.
But
we're saying nothing.
but as a Prussian, you were raised a filthy Protestant, and I can use that term. As an Irishman, I'm allowed to use that term.
Oh, we can. You can't.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's how she reacts. Okay. Obviously. Sorry, Gwyn. You do not get a cab because Joséphine sends Jerome with her carriage too.
Oh, sugar mama.
Of course. I would expect no less at this stage.
and more.
Should the rest of us invest in a sugar mama at this?
I
recommend you should.
I'm just wondering,
I can personally attest to the life goals,
the benefits
of marrying up. Okay. So Gwyn, the ball starts at 8, but Jerome is there at 7 because obviously Joséphine wants you there early to be there to receive the guests. You know.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So you're picked up at about 7, and now you've been in our house before. You've not had the full run of the house.
I haven't had the full tour, yeah.
Like so this is the thing. Like you've seen the first 2 floors, the ground floor and the first floor, okay? It's a beautiful 3-story house, okay? So I'll give a very quick rundown. When you go into the house, it's a very wide hallway. And the front room on the immediate left is a library. And then the front room on the immediate right is an office space of hers. And then on the right-hand side, past the office space is a drawing room with like some chalons and the likes and that. And then past that is a dining room, okay? And then there's a small corridor on the right that separates the dining room from the kitchen. There's a stairs that goes up and branches left and right. And then the back left, like over half of the left-hand side of the ground floor is this fabulous ballroom. So this was a house that was clearly bought and designed to host.
Okay,
now, the first floor is the master bedroom and guest bedrooms, and then the second floor is private. You believe that she might have laboratory or workspace up there, where she's doing her
first floor. Did you say
the second floor? The top floor is private.
Okay.
You've not been up there. That is, as far as you can aware, that is her private workspace. So you've never been on the second floor, okay?
Okay.
And even the staff don't go on the second floor. She has a standard staff.
It's not ominous at all.
Well, I mean, yes and no. Like, you have to remember that, like,
could be dangerous.
Yes, but also it's proprietary, you know? So,
yeah.
So, like, maybe she has the dead bodies of her former girlfriends up there, or maybe she has the dead bodies of her former girlfriends and the latest tech that she's going to be selling and making a shitload of money off. You know? Because, you know, she's a businesswoman.
She sure is.
Now, she has a small household staff. You haven't gotten to know them all. She has 2 maids, there's a cook, and there's a housekeeper. So all women. But and you've met the housekeeper once or twice, but you don't really know the household staff very well, okay? When you get there, you can tell there's way more than her normal household staff. She's clearly hired people for the night, serving drinks and food, like canapes and stuff like that, to the guests. Like there's instead of like she has 2 maids, there appears to be somewhere between maybe 7 to 10 serving staff here tonight who've clearly been hired for the night as part of the festivities, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so
Very good.
Gwyn, when you get there, Joséphine is obviously so happy to see you. She kind of very much like
It looks immaculate.
she inspects you, of course, okay?
Of course.
And you do look beautiful and stunning, of course. It's just okay, so
Okay.
there will be a lot of the same people that you met at the previous ball here tonight.
Oh, great.
Gerard Comache, that politician, he will be here.
And what if that sweet young girl,
Astrid?
who was that? Astrid.
Oh yes,
yes.
no. I did. I invited her and her mother, and I
Wonderful.
did track down the young Monsieur Delacour.
Great.
It was difficult to find him. He's staying in one of the premium premium hotels in the city. He's not native to Paris. But I did eventually track him down and send an invitation, as per your request. Okay.
Wonderful. Did you find out anything else about him? Because I know my friend Eminata was also interested.
Not much. He appears to be relatively new to Paris. He is quickly working his way through the various different social circles of Parisian high society. He's clearly from money.
Yes. Excellently trained dancer, I observed.
He is staying in one of the finest suites in one of the finest hotels in what is one of the finest cities in the world. So he is clearly from money.
Yes, I see. That's impressive.
And money speaks louder than anything in the city. But truth be told, I have not been able to learn any more about him, about his family, about his lineage, any other things about him. So,
well, perhaps we can change that this evening. And what of the Baron? Did you manage to track him down?
Yes, I did. He actually has a residence. One of the arrondissements that's somewhat near Notre Dame, sort of. So I did. He's also not been in the city that long. I think only a couple of months. I'm not entirely sure, but yes, a very interesting young man. I very briefly talked to him at the last soiree. So yes, I'm hoping to talk to him some more tonight. So he will be here. Then, honestly, my dear, it's going to be a lot of very boring people, some industrialists, owners of textiles mills, some entrepreneurs, investors, bankers, that sort of thing.
Oh my goodness, sounds exhausting.
Monsieur Carrel, the man who likes to consider himself a marquis, you met him, the very tall, very attractive, very lean man who likes women and
basically he's a
I recall.
He will not be in attendance tonight.
Well, I'm happy for Astrid's sake.
I'm asking you, and you can say, as she says this, her voice gets a little bit stern. You must be on your best behavior with one person in particular.
Oh, really?
Wait.
Do tell. Who is this person?
His Grace, Bishop Henri de Bois.
Oh, God.
The Bishop of Paris.
For your sake.
And yours,
I will,
my dear.
Try.
He is actually a wonderfully learned man. No, he is truly a wonderfully learned man. He is quite a scholar, a very interesting man, and a wonderful conversationist. To be honest with you, if he was not a man and a priest, I think you would like him quite a lot. But be on your best
high praise,
behavior,
I suppose.
With him especially.
Well, I promise I will try. My hardest.
Yes.
Just for you.
So yes, you're basically just chatting to you for a while, like showing you around different things, and like there's a small little grandstand is the wrong word, but a slightly raised dais where they have a small group of musicians. There's 5 of them, violin, cello, and there's a flautist as well, for the music for the night. But it's like the dance hall section, if you will. Like, it's quite grand. It's 15 by like
Wow.
35 meters. Like, it's a big
Moly.
like
That's big, yeah.
it takes up well over, like, it takes up probably close to 2/5 of the area of the ground floor.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Very impressive.
Yes. So, right. At 8 o'clock, people do start arriving. Okay. The first to arrive is so the first to arrive would be Monsieur Ivan Poulon. I don't think you actually met him, but you do recognize the face. He was at the previous party with his wife, Virginie. I think you did meet his wife, Vivienne, and she was pointed out to you. He is an owner of a textiles mill in the city. He's extremely wealthy, and his daughter, Virginie, she's stunningly beautiful young blonde with this willowy, slender frame.
Oh, she's the brat.
Yeah, who's
Yeah.
just coming out into society now, always immaculately dressed. Her mother is nice. Okay, you can see where the young girl got her looks from. Her mother is stunning as well. In her like late 40s, so a couple of years older than Joséphine. So they're the first to arrive, and they're like, oh, so very polite and very happy to see you. And with 2 minutes later, like literally 2 minutes later, Marianne Lagarde and her daughter Astrid turn up, and Marianne very thankful to Joséphine, like very like graciously thanking her. Thank you so much for this invitation. It really means a lot to us that you would invite us. My daughter getting to meet with other members of society. She is of that age. You can see Astrid is like practically buzzing. She's so excited to be at the party, and she's looking around already to see who's here. A little while,
Astrid, Gwynn will wave at her and go over and give her a kiss on the cheek.
As soon as she sees, she runs over and kisses on the cheek. It's so, and she's clutching her hands. It's so wonderful to see you, Gwynn. Thank you.
It's so wonderful to see you.
I'm so excited for tonight.
Well, you should be.
Then a couple of minutes later, another where are we? Apologies. Another guy, another textiles industrialist, Victor Moreau, and his wife, Madeleine Moreau, turn up, and they have a young son with him, Etienne, like mid-20s, pretty good-looking guy. Looks kind of like his dad. Average, kind of average height, but decent build. Auburn hair, you know, and she's introducing, like, Josephine's explaining who these people are, okay, and 2 minutes after them, Aminada's carriage pulls up.
Yay.
And so, Aminada, you're coming in. You immediately recognize some of these people. These are wealthy textiles industrialists. They're like, in this period in the during the Industrial Revolution, the textiles industry was where so many people were making their wealth. You know, it was the first industry that became heavily industrialized and produced huge amounts of money for people. Okay, I mean, France. So the game is set in 1872. This is about 20 years before the Berlin Conference, when Europe decided we're going to carve up Africa. So none of that has happened.
Yeah.
However, India is under British control. That colonization did happen in this world. So you get lots of cotton and stuff coming from there. There is some cotton coming from the Americas, but the United States of America in this world is a lot smaller. It's a fraction of the size of what it was in 1872 in our own world, okay? Like, it's a fraction of the size, okay? As I've said before on stream, you have basically the East Coast coming down into Florida and along until New Orleans. And that is the entirety of the United States of America. The rest of the continent is still under the control of the First Nations peoples and their federations of nations. But you would still have cottons coming from there.
Okay.
But you, as I said, you would know these people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, because one of the primary resources that Mali would also be trading with France would be textiles as well. So
not cotton, obviously, because that's a indigenous to the Americas, but other things like linens and flaxes and stuff like that, obviously, as well. Yeah. So shortly, like literally a minute or two after Amanada arrives, you see a man coming in, tall, very dignified looking, in his early 60s, silver grey hair with a neatly trimmed beard, piercing blue eyes, and his countenance, it just radiates serenity and authority, wearing immaculately put together ecclesiastical attire.
The bishop.
This is clearly Bishop Henri Dubois. And as he comes in, and Joséphine says, "Oh, Your Grace, it is so wonderful to have you here to bless our gathering." He says, "Oh, please, my dear, you know I love a party just as much as the next man." And he's got this really powerful, like, deep voice as he warmly grasps her hands. Nothing dodgy, he's like genuinely almost fatherly the way he's behaving with her. And the chance to be in your presence in this beautiful home, I'm quite looking forward to tonight. And he continues on. He does see Gwynn, and he respectfully nods the head and then continues on into the party. He sees Amanada, and there's a big smile inside, goes up to you. "And how are you, my dear? How are your wonderful parents?"
"Oh, monsieur, very well. My parents are good. They unfortunately could not make it this evening. You know, they're away back home."
Honestly, I do not think I know of a couple who works harder than your mama and papa. I mean, I never see them, and it makes me so angry. They're always working.
They're always so busy. I too rarely see them as much these days, since they think I'm old enough to be by myself. But, they're admirable people, and I'm so glad that I'm their child.
No, they are wonderful, wonderful people, but that doesn't make me any less displeased that I do not get to see them at social events more often.
I will make a point to stress that with them. I know Mama would make sure to remedy that tout suite.
Good. See that you do, my dear. Now, excuse me, I will certainly be talking to you later. And he goes off. And, you've met him once or twice, and, he's the Bishop of Paris, so he's a figure of authority within society. He is a very important man, but he's also someone who's highly respected. He is a genuine scholar, he's known for his charitable work. He does a lot to help the poor in the city, but he's also known as being quite a scholar of theology, philosophy, and the arts.
Awesome. Okay, so there probably would be quite a lot of overlap with my family and all the discussions. They definitely love to talk to him a lot.
And and this is a guy who's he loves talking to your family because they're from a completely different culture to what he's from, and he loves learning about other cultures, and also other religious beliefs. Because while he is still himself a devout Catholic, he is a theologian.
Theology, yeah.
So he's a theologian and a philosopher. So he loves to talk to people who would have different beliefs to his own. And obviously the Mali Empire is still practicing very much the indigenous traditional beliefs of that part of West Africa. It's kind of a weird one in that some of the royals in Mali did convert to Islam, but that was like a political thing.
Mhm.
because you've got the Islamic caliphs in the north of Africa, which is not that far from Mali. So there was that kind of but it wasn't a total conversion of all of the noble families or of the people of Mali, So it
Yeah.
was,
Very much choice based move, but also strategic. Like you'd make marriages, out of alliance and things like that. A lot of them were like, oh, if we do this, they'll think we're cool with this, and thus
100%,
more trade.
Exactly, 100%. And let's not you can't ignore the fact that like the kingdoms in what would be now modern day Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, these were powerful fucking kingdoms. Like these were serious people, powerful empires, So yeah, okay. So short, 2-3 minutes after the bishop arrives, Justine and Sylvia turn up.
Ah,
And as soon as you walk in, you see Gwynn standing beside Joséphine.
okay. Yeah, then we did have the address,
Oh, I'm so glad you're here this time.
Thank you for inviting us to your lovely home. Sylvia is looking around, kind of trying not to be massively intimidated.
This is an exquisite home.
Sylvia's never been anywhere.
This isn't. I mean, your family wasn't poor. They were a kind of working class, merchant style florists. They would have been middle class, but very
no, not middle class, working class. No.
Okay.
But no, it was a stall. Like it wasn't a shop.
Yeah, I know, but like they're still trading. Yeah. They're still trading. They're not laborers.
Okay.
They're running their business.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so they would have been like the poorer side of that kind of more middle class than working class laborers, factory workers. They were above that level of society. Like working class in the 19th century was you're dirt poor living in a tenement, working in a factory, hoping not to die. And they were above that.
Right.
But still nothing close to the level of affluence that you're seeing here.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so
Aminata probably would have noticed the others arrive. Like they would have just kind of gone and said hello, quick hellos, and mingled as as they've been trained to do. But on hearing Sylvia's voice, they would have spun around and gone back to the others. That's just been a bit of time.
And you get back to them, and it's kind of funny arriving in at the same time, though you assume they didn't arrive together. You see Monsieur Lorraine Delacour, the beautiful young man that you'd seen at the previous ball that Aminata had danced with, and the Baron Ivan Stratsmere. And like they're so very different, okay? So Baron Stratsmere is slightly above average height, a very good looking man, but in this kind of very masculine Slavic kind of like strong cheekbones, square jaw, this slender mustache, intense blue eyes, this jet black hair he wears in a simple ponytail, which is so not the fashion in Paris,
Sorry, I think have we frozen on Twitch? Sorry, because I've just gone on and it looks like
No, it looks good to me.
No.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, we're good.
It's working again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, very very fair, like really pale skin, but you're not sure is it that his skin is really pale or his hair is so
dark
black that it makes him look lighter,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And like this like deep like blood red brocaded waistcoat with like the black jacket.
Gwynn was straight, I swear to God.
I was literally just thinking that Gwynn would be you'd be climbing him like a tree.
Yeah, listen, Aminata's trying to get there.
But then beside him, and it's like it's like
I'll turn you into a cat, Aminata.
It is literally like, you know,
Night and day.
Up you go.
night, and I mean like in the ethereally beautiful nighttime versus the brilliant sun. Lorraine Delacour, who's like, you know, he's not crazy tall, but slightly above average height, so about the same height as the Baron, but he's lithe, but not scrawny, but lithe, slender, with these beautiful blonde curls, like Raphaelite like curls just falling around this beautiful face, you know. It's so youthful. He's got these large sparkling blue eyes, radiant smile, and he's wearing this vibrant like brocaded green with like a turquoise jacket over that, and like moving, just he moves like a dancer, you know. Whereas the Baron moves more like a warrior, you know. So
I will try and marry this man.
So as I said, they are like night and day as they both come in, and Joséphine goes up to them both, and first, Baron Stratzmere, it is so wonderful to have you here. So I was like, thank you so very much for your invitation into your beautiful home. And he takes her hand and gently kisses it, and bows his head. I'm sure this will be a wonderful evening full of rich conversation. And he just politely moves off to the side and says, Monsieur Delacour, it's so wonderful to have you here too, and perhaps a dance later. I have heard quite a lot of stories which he said, Mademoiselle, please, if I would be honored, of course. And thank you so much for the kind invitation. Truly, the people of Paris are the kindest and friendliest of all in France. As he also takes her hand and kisses it. You know, completely different demeanor to the Barons, you know. And you can see Astrid is off in a corner and she's looking at Delacour, and you can see she's excited because, you know, she has already spotted him previously, you know. A couple more families do come in. There's like, you're told, pointed out, oh, that is Monsieur Leclerc, he's senior executive at Banque de France, you know, and oh, that is Charles Durand, an incredible investor. We've actually worked together several times. He's invested in a number of my projects, and there's a couple of others, and like eventually there's like, they've all arrived. It's a small kind of intimate gathering. There's like maybe 25, 30 people here, you know, so slightly bigger than the previous ball, but nothing crazy, okay? And Joséphine, once everybody's arrived, she's center stage, welcoming everybody to her home, telling them to enjoy their drinks, enjoy the food, enjoy the dancing, have a wonderful evening. And the band starts playing, the musicians start playing their music, and some people do start going out to dance, and Joséphine turns to you, Gwynn, and takes gestures with her hand.
Well, I will try my best not to embarrass you.
So, and leading you out onto the dance floor to lead the festivities.
Excellent. Gwynn is not a great dancer, but she would just let Joséphine lead.
Joséphine,
like, she's okay, but not super.
So Joséphine is an exceptionally good dancer, and she's a very strong lead.
Wonderful.
Yes.
I would expect no less.
So
I think after the dance, Gwynn is going to go and chat to Astrid. She's going to work her way over to her.
Sylvia's going to try and probably stick with people she knows, so she's probably going to stay with Gwynn because, you know,
yeah, fair. We'll go as a team, chat to Astrid. Gwynn just wanted to, kind of tease her a bit about Delacour. Yeah, in there.
Okay, so you go over. She's off on one side. She's sipping a glass of you're not sure if it's white wine or champagne. You can't see it because she's kind of holding it like this. and she sees you, and she's like really like excited energy, but clearly very nervous as you come up to her. She's like, Gwyn, did you see? He's here. He's here.
I think Josephine took your request under consideration, and here we are. Now you have to behave yourself afterward.
Is this the man that I heard about from the last ball that you were at?
What did you hear? Don't tell me you heard that he was doing something scandalous.
Oh no!
No. We just relayed that he was a wonderful dancer.
I have never been to a ball before, so no, Gwynn and Aminata were just telling me, or just telling all of us really, about the balls that they were at before, and they mentioned Delacour, and also yourself.
And when you say that, she starts to blush. Like, what did you say about me?
Oh, just looking at Gwynn with this. Just that you seemed very nice, and Aminata also said the same thing. And we're very happy to hear that you would be going through this ball as well. I am Sylvia. I'm not a lady or anything like that, so of course.
Oh, that's so rude of me. I didn't introduce you properly. Astrid, Sylvia, Astrid. Sylvia's been one of my traveling companions for the longest time. She's involved with the stuff that we're not going to talk about publicly, but the stuff.
Oh, it's so wonderful to meet you. And then she turns to Justine, because I assume Justine is standing there as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. And yourself. My name is Astrid Lagarde. It is so very wonderful to meet you.
And Justine just goes like, "Oh," because she realized that she's actually never been introduced to Astrid because she wasn't at the last ball. Anki was.
Oh my goodness.
The baby.
Justine's like, I know you.
Yeah, so Justine just going to go a bit like, "Oh, my name is Justine Demore. It's nice to meet you."
Oh, it's very nice to meet you too. Very nice to meet you too.
And look who else we have here. Anklagon.
And does Anki reveal himself? And so,
they met already.
They did, yeah. It's like, oh, he's so adorable. He's so cute.
Yes.
Oh, he's so lovely.
Good.
Honestly,
worship him. Good.
It's my baby.
He is a wonderful roommate. He is quiet. He is very tidy, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. And he is content with, just simple berries and dried fish.
He's just so adorable. He's coming over. And she's looking past over Justine's shoulder, and you can see Delacour is walking in your direction.
Now, Astrid, compose yourself. Do not be swept away by niceties. Play hard to get.
What?
Yes, don't just throw yourself at him.
What? And as he arrives, just as she's saying that, he says, "Excuse me, mademoiselles. My name is Lorraine Delacour. I believe I've met some of you before, gesturing to Gwynn. It is so wonderful to meet you again, mademoiselle. And mademoiselle Lagarde, I was wondering if you would be so kind as to..."
Well, now, and Gwynn will just step in between them. Before you come and try and steal away our friend, Monsieur Delacour, we have some questions for you.
What?
Yes. Where are you from?
Further south, near Marseille.
Okay. And what sort of family do you come from?
A very old family, but nothing important. They're not generals or politicians.
Dukes or kings.
No.
This will do for our Astrid. So I must insist, what sort of industry do they work in?
Mostly farming, agriculture. They're very much part of the nature itself. Not so much this modern industrialization.
I like you a bit more now.
So involved with nature. That's interesting, as I am a druid myself. But you'll have to forgive Gwynn. She is very protective of friends, above all of us, really. It is just how she is.
We
And
must.
Sylvia's kind of laughing with this, like, Gwynn, calm the fuck down. If I have, I do not want you calling
Do
me.
you cast a cantrip and say that to her?
Yeah, I'm like, this is my first fucking ball. Do not cause a scene.
And Gwyn just turns to Sylvia and says, Sylvia, we need to know where to go and hunt him down if she does anything to Astrid. And she deliberately says it out loud so he can hear.
You can cast a spell to easily locate anyone, so this is not a problem. And she's
Good
smiling
point.
very, very sweetly and delicate. It's like
Yeah.
Sylvia's doing the same. This girl seems really sweet. If you hurt her, we'll fucking kill you. But she's
Yeah, I
doing it
imagine Gwyn
slightly
and
more.
Sylvia have the same look on their faces right now.
Yeah, but Sylvia's being a little bit more gentle about it. Like, but you know, you will easily be able to hunt him down, and I can change into animals, so you know it is
I mean,
fine.
Ladies, we must always guard that which we consider a treasure.
Of course.
Well,
And as he says that,
motherfucker.
Astrid just goes bright red. He's like,
He's smooth.
smooth motherfucker. And she's just like,
Oh,
bright red.
Yeah.
He's smooth.
And
Even
Yes,
Gwyn is a
like-
little bit impressed. So
Yeah,
just
Sylvia's
step
like,
to the side.
Sylvia is not by any means straight or into men, so she's like, jeez, if you, wow,
Yep.
that might have worked up Sylvia, I gotta say, like.
I
Yep,
says,
yep.
Mademoiselles, if you'd be so kind, Mademoiselle Lagarde, if you would do me the honor of the next dance. And she's kind of looking at you all, and she's kind of like, it's like a wash of emotions across her face. She's incredibly excited this beautiful man who she's attracted to is asking her to dance. She's incredibly embarrassed because this beautiful man who she's attracted to has asked her to dance. She's incredibly thankful of you all being so protective, and is furious at you all for threatening this beautiful man that she wants to dance with.
Sylvia's
did
gonna
not hear any-
cantrip and just be like, go on, dance with him.
Yeah,
Dance
and,
with him. Go on,
yeah,
go on.
it's like,
Justine is just watching this like she would watch like a TV series.
oh yeah,
She's like,
this is like
I ship you now.
this is like the best telenovela ever, you know.
Their love could never be.
So with Gwyn not chucking any fireballs,
From now, at
Lorraine
least.
takes Astrid's hand and leads her out onto the dance floor to the next song, and whisks her away. It's like her feet barely touch the ground. This guy is, as Aminata knows, this guy is a ridiculously incredible dancer. You know, yeah.
Well, he is quite impressive, isn't he?
Sylvia, and I will say, like, there was a couple of guys that you remember in the army, a couple of soldiers like this who were just like particularly a couple of the guys who were officers who trained as saber fencers.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
who were just ridiculous dancers. It's like, how does a man with this much muscle mass move with this much speed and grace? And it was especially true of a couple of the officers who were known as being exceptionally skilled fencers.
I get there is like fencing and dancing.
It's the beautiful marriage, like it really is.
But so Sylvia is kind of just looking around. Just kind of. So, what do we think? You know, I don't want to always assume the worst. He seems like he is a nice man, but Astrid seems as though she's very innocent, and I would be that.
She is, I think. But he is quite impressive. And I like him all the more now that I know he's from a, normal family.
Well, works with nature, this could mean anything.
It's
Could
good
be
for someone's, good for someone's temper, I feel.
Well, I think at least he is not one of those, viscounts or these. I knew them in the army. I have money, and I was born into this family, therefore I am God's gift, and everyone should, bow before me. And Yeah, I have no time for it. But he seems to be quite grounded.
Quick question. Where is Amanada at the moment?
Where do you want her to be?
I'm not a smooching.
Like literally, it's wherever you want her to be. Except the second floor. She cannot be there.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine.
I mean, you could certainly try.
Is she in the
guy
ballroom?
is stealing shit.
No, not from Madame, not from Madame.
You could
I wouldn't do
certainly
that.
try.
Oh, God.
You were in another artificer's workshop very recently, and you saw how well guarded they are.
Exactly. So
you can
listen.
imagine.
I learn.
You can imagine what the workship in her private residence is going to be like.
I know. I just have to like pray that she'll invite us in somehow. Okay,
Gwynn
so
just needs to keep,
keeping
She
Madame
will try her
happy.
hardest.
So
pay her way, I suppose.
booty tax. Amanada would probably have done the laps, and they would have just kind of like glided up beside Justine after seeing the whole interaction with Delacour. Because obviously, I was like, yeah, he's cute. He's, let her have her fun. You're only young once, and she seemed very taken by him. But also,
she's 2 years younger than you, like maybe 1 year.
Yeah.
Listen, 2 years in high society is a fucking lot. Okay, it's a lot.
If Bridgerton is anything to go by.
It is a lot of education. Yeah, so Amanada would have been just kind of like dilly-dallying, like doing the interact, like the usual kind of social rubbing elbows, all the laughing, whatever. And they would have eyes on the Baron.
Yes.
Because obviously they'd love to dance with him again and just talk to him again. But at the same time, they don't want to seem overly eager. So yeah, they're just going to kind of settle up beside Justine and hopefully not scare them, and just say, "Are you having fun?"
Absolutely. And Justine is having eye on one particular person, on the freaking bishop.
Oh.
Ah.
Well, actually, the bishop is currently in conversation with the Baron.
Ooh, interesting. Amanada is going to give Justine the fastest rundown on the bishop that she could possibly give, like trying to keep voices low and just saying, he's my mère, my père, they've been around him quite a bit. He's very interested in other civilizations, so naturally he gravitated towards my parents, and he seems to be a mostly alright sort of person. I haven't had any of my weird feelings about him, so to speak, but then again, I haven't made a habit of being in his direct company. My parents have. But is there anything in particular you'd like to know that I can maybe find out?
If
I would like an introduction, maybe. That would give you a chance to talk.
You could ask him about the gargoyle.
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to share everything we found and talk to him about the gargoyle and what is hiding underneath the Notre Dame Ferry. So I'll give you a chance to talk to the handsome Baron. Wink, wink. Because you knows, because Anki was there.
Amanada's not shy about that at all. No. Amanada's just going to kind of link arms with Justine and say, no?
Sure.
And just going to lead you along the way. Amanada's going to look at Sylvia and say, would you like to come with? Would you like to stay with Gwynn?
I don't know if there's
I can't wait to meet the bishop.
Okay, let us all go. I will make the
Okay.
introductions.
I was going
Yeah,
to say, Gwynn, that I didn't want to, be hanging around you in case I was impinging on your time with Madame Gaultier, the
Not
third
at all.
wheel,
She
as it
is
were.
so busy networking and doing the things she needs to do. She'll
So,
find me when she wants me.
so this is my first ball. So, as I
You're
said,
doing great.
well, I was not raised by wolves. I do know how to how conversations work. I did live in a forest for a few months, but it is not where, I was raised. So
You are doing fine. Everybody
I
is
am
doing
not
amazing.
I am not worried about it. It's just a change of scenery, It's a step up from a flower stall in Berlin.
Okay, so you head towards the bishop and the baron, yes?
Mhm.
So the four of ye heading up towards the bishop and the baron. They're having conversation, and as you get there, you can see the baron is saying, "Yes, well, actually, then after the Ottomans, when they conquered my home country, one thing I will say is that they were so respectful to the places of worship. They did not come in and destroy the churches. They respected any icons or anything." And he's like mid conversation, mid sentence saying this, as you all are like, "Oh, excuse me, my ladies. Justine, can you give me an awareness roll, please?"
That's not 20, Neil.
Okay, right. So as you get up to them, you just feel Anki tense and his claws just grip ever so slightly. And I think that is a perfect place to take a very brief pause in our story.
Animals always
We will
know.
be back
They
in
always know.
just 2 minutes, folks. Don't go away. Okay, we'll be back in just 2 minutes. Quick break for people, and then we will return to our tale. So just
Oh my god.
okay.
Fey Earth is a tabletop role-playing game set in an alternate 19th century Earth, where all the creatures from folklore and fairy tale are real, have always been real, and live openly alongside humanity. It is a game based heavily on folklore, in which the Fey and magical beings depicted are as they were described in the original stories from whence they came. This means, when you play Fey Earth, you will find yourself coming across many creatures whose names are very familiar, but whose appearance, personalities, and powers are very different from what you might be used to. It is a world, however, in which the Fae have developed alongside humanity, and while in many ways they are similar in how they appeared in fairy tales, in other ways they are also advanced in a similar fashion to humans. This means that as well as finding fairies and dryads living in nature, you will also find centaur cavalry and dwarven riflemen. The world of Fey Earth is one in which most people try to avoid the Fey, treating them with a healthy respect at a distance. But you will still find people who wish to adventure, exploring abandoned Fey mounds, hoping to find treasure and lost magic. There are two playable lineages in Fey Earth, a mundane human and the Fey Touched. These are humans who have Fey in their ancestry and who carry some of this magical blood in them, which grants them minor magical abilities as well as physical differences to other humans. There are also 7 playable professions in this game. As you explore the world of Fey Earth, you will find parts of it that are familiar to our historical 19th century, but other areas that are original. These include Fey nations such as Jotunheim in the north above Norway, Sweden and Finland, in which can be found the dark-skinned northern dwarfs, as well as the ice giants and trolls. Jotunheim trades with human nations, exchanging their lumber, dwarven steelworks and other products for food and goods that are not so easily obtained in the frozen north. As well as the Fey nations in Europe, within human civilizations you will find Magitech, the merging of machines with the arcane, both to help drive this new industrial age, as well as the everyday lives of ordinary individuals. The artificers of human towns and cities spend their days making magically powered devices for both the capitalists running factories and the housewives and labourers of society, although they will also make items for adventurers who have enough coin. Fey Earth uses a simple D20 system, similar to other popular D20 tabletop role-playing games. It has a very simple set of mechanics with 8 ability scores. Your score in an ability is your modifier to your dice roll, as well as other modifiers for having relevant skills and talents. This creates a very simple set of mechanics using flat modifiers that is easy and quickly learned. Fey Earth classes. The Druids, who learn magic through their connection with nature, are especially skilled in dealing with the Fey and also specialize in a specific element for which they have a great affinity. When they are performing magics using that particular element, they are even more powerful. The Mystics. These religious spellcasters gain their connection with magic either through praying to their gods or through their connection with ancestral spirits. The Mystics also have access to a wide range of magic, though many become gifted healers. Mystics often take a sacred vow, through which they try to better guide their own actions. These vows grant them additional boons and spells. The fighter is a profession which seems simple on the surface, but is one which provides a great degree of customization. Fighters specialize in combat feats. These are special maneuvers they train in, which they can use in combat to tailor their actions, allowing them to cause greater injuries or deflect attacks against themselves or their allies. A fighter's chosen weapon develops as they do, its power increasing as the character advances. The Gunslinger. In this late 19th century world, guns have become a very important aspect of combat. Gunslingers are highly trained fighters who specialize in the use of firearms. Gunslingers learn additional skills, allowing them to perform a wide range of special maneuvers in combat, making them master ranged fighters. The Sorcerer. Sorcerers are the academics of the magical world. While druids and mystics will train with their religious orders, most sorcerers learn magic by studying it in universities or by becoming an apprentice. Sorcerers view magic like a mathematical science. They often learn new spells through experimentation or research, though this may lead to magical mishaps with temporary or sometimes permanent effects. The Rogues are a mixed profession, skilled in subterfuge and stealth, but also able to handle themselves in a fight. Unlike other professions, when playing a rogue, you can choose at a higher level to take a specific archetype. This enhanced training gives the rogue additional skills, talents, and feats. Alternatively, there is a Shadowcaster archetype, which gives the rogue access to spells from the spheres of Twilight and Chaos. The Witch. While a magical profession, unlike other spellcasters,
Okay, folks, and welcome back. When last we left our heroes, the party were at a fabulous ball being hosted by Joséphine Gaultier, the artificer that has been hiring them to do various odd jobs for them, and is basically Gwynn's sugar mama. There's a host of different people here. Some of the party have met before at a previous ball, and some new people that you haven't had a chance to meet yet. The party had literally just walked up to a pair of men, one of whom Amanada is very interested in getting to know better, a mysterious baron originally from Bulgaria, Baron Ivan Stratsmir, and then the other, the Bishop of Paris, that Justine and Sylvie would like to talk to after their recent encounter with the strange and mysterious gargoyle of Notre Dame de Paris. So, you've both arrived up towards the two men as they're having their conversation, and they turn to you. Ladies, it's so lovely to meet you. And the Baron, seeing you all, but you, Amanada, he says, "Ah, mademoiselle, it is so wonderful to meet you again. Would you be so kind as to do me the honor of a dance?"
Of course.
So takes you by the hand.
Get in there!
And lead you away.
Commence the climbing.
Obviously, I would only go after I've made the introductions.
Yeah.
with the bishop. I wouldn't just be like,
you,
oh,
of
bye.
course. You introduce Sylvia and Justine to the bishop, who knows you. He doesn't know you super well, but he does know you, and he says, "Oh," and then the Baron leads you away. Can I just make one suggestion, because we are getting a weird reverb on the Twitch, so when you're not speaking, if you go to mute, and we'll see if that makes a difference, folks. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Cool, thanks. Obviously, I can't mute, but maybe it will help. Twitch, OBS, it can be a nightmare at times. So anyway, the Baron leads Aminata away, and the bishop turns to you all. Ladies, it is so lovely to meet you all. My name, I am. Sorry. I am the.
The Archbishop. Joséphine mentioned you. I mean, Madame Gaultier mentioned you when you arrived, Monsieur.
Oh, thank you. Yes, my name is Bishop Dubois. It's a wonderful night, I must say. Madame Gaultier, she's an excellent host.
She certainly is, and such a beautiful house.
Yes, it is quite lovely. Although she does she does a lot of charitable work for the poor members of the city as well. She really is a good.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes, she's a very good Christian woman.
Oh, I have no reason to doubt that.
I did not know, but she is very generous, certainly.
Most generous.
Actually, myself and Justine here.
Justine was just looking really anxious and not paying attention to conversation at all.
Mademoiselle
Just
Dumore
keeping
and
just okay. So Sylvia.
We had an interesting encounter a while ago with a creature from the cathedral near Montmartre, Notre Dame.
Justine, did you want to say something there?
Yeah, Justine is just looking visibly anxious, I would say, because she's terrible at hiding anything, and she is just looking at Aminata dancing with the Baron and trying not to let them out of her sight. And when she hears Notre Dame, she kind of goes, "Oh, yeah." So she positions herself to still see Aminata dancing with the Baron, and kind of tries to, get back into the conversation, something she's really interested in, and just explain about the gargoyle and everything to learn. But she's very, for Sylvia, who knows Justine, Sylvia can see that Justine is very much detached from the conversation. She is almost like reciting something by memory. She's not like engaged at all. Because normally she would be quite like hyper about the whole thing.
Yeah, Sylvia was kind of counting on that.
Yeah. I mean, she still gives all the information, all the details, because she studied it and she learned it, and it's in her head. But she's very much not excited about talking to the bishop and telling about all the amazing stuff they found. She is just like kind of looking at Aminata big time.
Well, Sylvia is going to mention like how, we are staying in Montmartre, and we saw the creature fly through.
Sorry, mademoiselle. You're saying that you saw a creature, a gargoyle?
Yeah, we did. It turns out the situation, don't worry, the situation has actually been resolved. There had been a thief who stole something from the cathedral, and in doing so, he awoke the gargoyle, which had been enchanted in order to protect the item. The gargoyle went to retrieve it, and we followed the gargoyle, just to make sure that no one was killed. But I myself have healing magics, and
are you a nun?
No, I am a druid.
I see.
Yeah, so.
Oh my God, Gwynn is horrified that Sylvia said that. She literally has gone into like trauma-informed panic mode.
Trauma over what?
Because this guy's probably going to burn her at the stake.
He can fucking try.
Okay, so you.
I am not afraid of this guy at all.
Sylvia and Justine, give me awareness rolls, please.
Oh shit, that was cocked. Sorry.
No, let's go.
Oh,
that's
okay,
16.
That was 5. That was kind of cocked, but it wasn't.
Justine, you see that when Sylvia says that, Gwynn starts to like get really kind of freaked out look on her face, you know, like genuinely freaked out look on her face when Sylvia
like
says,
why of all people in Paris to say that to? Why they aren't big?
Magic is commonplace. What's the fucking problem? Not commonplace, but you know,
I have met a number of druids. They are very learned individuals, very learned spellcasters, particularly knowledgeable in the ways of the Fey. Obviously, we would disagree on certain things. He says, kind of chuckling, but they are truly learned scholars as well.
It's a different point of view. You know, you access magic. I believe mystics access magic through. In some cases, ancestral beliefs, and some through also the belief in the god, you know. Whereas I've had access through nature, you know.
Look, Mademoiselle, trust me, when I heard your accent, I thought you were going to say something far worse and declare you were a Protestant.
In another life, these things could have happened. You never know, but no, that is not the path that my life took.
In the past, I will, and he looks around conspiratorially as he says this. I've got none better with druids than Protestants, although the Protestants do make better cakes. They really.
This is true. So definitely, if you're ever in Berlin, I can certainly recommend some cafes to you.
Yes. But it's interesting to you that you mention this, because virtually no one knows of the gargoyle that guards Notre Dame de Paris.
Oh, well, we saw it. So.
The last time the beast awoken was during the Revolution. As you probably would know, well, maybe you do not because you're not French, but during the Revolution, many treasures owned by the church were taken by the revolutionaries, and a group of men did break into Notre Dame and go down into the reliquary to steal some of the items, including an item that was being protected by the beast. Okay, yes, okay. Apologies, as I said, some tech remnants for a minute. OBS was being difficult, but we are back. Huzzah.
We vanquished them. It's fine.
If anybody is curious, gremlins do not exist in the world of Fey Earth, and the reason
this is 20th century.
The reason they don't exist is because they are 20th century folklore. The earliest references to gremlins was, I believe, something like 1918, 1920. So early 20th century. So that is why you will never see a gremlin in this world, because they are simply they did not exist in the folklore that existed at the time that this game is set. So apologies for that brief interruption, and let us return. So, Mademoiselle, as I was saying, when the revolutionaries attacked, the beast was awoken, and I do believe it did kill 2 or 3 men before it retrieved the relic. You're saying that nobody was injured or seriously injured in the recent activities?
But nothing that I couldn't fix with my magics, you know.
I am really like. Do not get me wrong. These were obviously thieves. They were sinners, but you should not die for that manner of sin. There is. I mean, it's not like they're murderers, you know.
Yeah. So throughout this entire thing, Sylvia is looking at Justine because she's hoping, like, you know, my super smart friend is going to jump in here and like give loads of information and hopefully learn more. And it's kind of like each time this is happening, is quite while this conversation is happening, she keeps looking over at Justine going like, come on, you're really smart. You can like say stuff and you get you know high society stuff. You can like
Well, if
Come on, you're better at this than me. Come on.
I do know some. I do know of the creature that guards Notre Dame. It guards a relic to Saint Guillaume Fema. They were a saint who died in the beginning of the 12th century. They lived most of their life as a hermit, very much had a great connection with nature and animals, and believed that one could gain a connection to God and our Lord Christ through reverence of nature and animals. So not similar to yourself.
Something. Yeah, he sounds like, had I known him, we could have wonderful conversations.
Yes, of course. The relic was added to the cathedral in the early 15th century, and the relic had this saint was he performed many miracles, and the relic, which was a relic made from, I believe, his thigh bone, itself was said to be able to perform great healing miracles. And when the relic arrived, there was a priest who was in the church, in the cathedral at that time, Bertrand Sylvestre, who was a powerful mystic. As I'm sure you're aware, most members of the Catholic Church today are not gifted in the arcane. I myself was not born with the arcane spark, but I was born.
While this is happening, Sylvia is going to look at Gwynn with this kind of like, yeah, I know it's because they burned the witches, but please don't fucking start.
Yep.
But so he was a powerful mystic who I believe was especially gifted in the healing arts as well as magics to shape and control the earth. And he, Madame?
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm just asking how is Gwynn now? She's still like totally freaking out, or is she okay?
She's literally watching this conversation with her jaw like on the floor.
Okay.
our
In shock
yeah,
and horror.
Sylvia's got like awareness 1. She does not. She realizes that Gwynn is kind of staring at her, but like just in this sort of, is this because this is the most you've heard Sylvia talk in any like?
Our records say that he, using his arcane gifts, sculpted the statue of the gargoyle from a single piece of stone, and then breathed life into it so that it would guard the relic. This was magic that unfortunately appears to have been lost with time.
Yeah, I am skilled in the areas of life, is the sphere of life and also earth, but I could not fathom doing such a thing,
Well, this priest's skills were legendary. In fact, it's even said that he brought the dead back to life on 1 or 2 occasions.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's a skill that has been mostly resigned to myth and story.
Well, in the case of druids, we tend to believe that, once you have died, you have returned to the earth, and, the circle of life will continue, and it is what it is, it is the end, but also as a continuation of, everything. So, Justine here is very she's very learned. She knows a lot about all sorts of things. Looking in this kind of looking at her kind of like, come on, jump into the conversation.
Yeah. How's Aminata and Baron doing?
They look like they're having a great time. We will be moving to that scene in a moment, but Aminata's having a great time.
Okay, I think by this point Justine is kind of still trying to sort of like keep a peripheral view on them. But she's kind of like, okay, he's not doing anything. They're still here. It doesn't look like he's trying to murder her right now, or like kidnap her, or do something shady or weird. And she was listening. She was listening to the conversation, kind of like with half ear. She has a very strong academic background, so she can listen but still pay attention to something else. So all the boring lectures she had in the university are paying off now. So all that information was kind of what they learned in the archives anyways. So Justine's probably going to turn to Bishop and be like, oh yeah, I wouldn't call myself smart, but I do know Latin, and when we encountered the gargoyle, we actually went to Notre Dame de Paris. We wanted to know if anyone knows anything. We wanted to learn more. So one of the, who was it, the priest? One of the priests, I forget his name, but Justine remembers. She says the name, led us in the archives. So we've learned.
It was Father Jacques Lefebvre.
Yeah. Father Jacques Lefebvre let us in. And I've studied the archives in the North Boundary and
in the original Latin.
It's so wonderful to meet a woman who has such scholarly gifts. It's lost in most of the youth of today. They're more interested in their dances and their fanciful Gothic romances than they are of this knowledge such as you have learned. And he's saying, like, he means this in high praise. He's like genuinely impressed at you, a young woman, turning around saying, oh, I was reading through the cathedral archives in the original Latin. Like, that to him is like, wow, you're awesome. He thinks you're great.
Justine is thinking, well, one can enjoy both. Fancy Gothic romances and Latin manuscripts.
Justine,
or true crime podcasts.
Justine loves
Justine reads smut.
Yes, Justine.
It's canon.
Justine reads whatever the 19th century version of Twilight is. That's off Justine's alley.
Yeah, no, we're just waiting on Justine to publish her fan fiction.
Oh God.
Absolutely. About 12th century monk.
Yeah.
Making gargoyles.
Yeah.
But Justine got interested there when he said that this mystic was said to bring bodies back to life. Because that's not what you read in the archives.
No,
that wasn't mentioned at all.
This is another level. This is like, okay, if he was able to cast the resurrection spell, like less than one mystic in a generation gains that kind of power.
Justine's question would be, was it actually a resurrection spell? Or was it something like what Monclerc is doing? Because this man was clearly capable of building all sorts of creatures. And one can argue that Monclerc also brings people back to life. But in what form?
No, in the story that I read, there was a young family and they had a child who fell to some disease. I'm not sure what the disease was. In the original Latin, it just used the term of plague, and it was said that that Silvestre managed to bring the lad back to life. Now, in the stories, it's said that he was like a godfather to this child. He was very close to the family, and that they viewed he was like a godfather to this child. It was not just some random child from the parish. It was one that he had a deep personal connection to himself, and the child had passed and he was able to use the gifts of his immense magic. Now it must be said, when he did when he performed the miracle of resurrection, I believe he was in his late 50s, early 60s. And when the reliquary came to Paris and he created the beast, I think by that stage he was in his 70s. In fact, he died only a year or two later in his mid 70s of old age. So he was quite elderly, quite a learned man who had devoted his life to the church and to developing the arcane arts so that he could heal the sick and teach the loving message of Christ through the miracles that he was performing in his name. So you're getting a lot more. Okay, this guy was a fucking not going too meta here, but this guy was clearly really high level, mystic, seriously high level spellcaster. like as I say, in his like late 60s when he managed to bring this boy back from the dead. Which is it's a spell in the game, but it's an exceptionally rare spell.
Mhm.
And it's not just exceptionally rare, it's really difficult to cast. It doesn't have a like automatic success rate either.
Mhm.
You could be an exceptionally skilled mystic and cast the spell and it doesn't work.
Mhm.
So yeah, so okay, you're definitely getting more like, because in the archive I just said, oh, we use magic of earth and life to create this gargoyle, and you're like, oh no, this guy was like other level, like people like this don't exist anymore. You don't get
Mhm.
spellcasters with this level of power anymore. This is the kind of
Mhm.
stuff from fairy tales, literally.
Well,
Some Fey lineage, maybe.
Pardon?
No, it's just kind of I'm talking as a player. Some Fey lineage, maybe.
Do you want to ask the bishop?
Yeah, I'll ask him if he thinks that might be a possibility.
I I do believe that he was fey touched. I think. I mean, it's a long time since I read these records. You must understand. But I do believe that yes, he was fey touched, and that it was some sort of, I think, some sort of dwarf-like fey lineage that he had. I think. Um, yes.
well, dwarves they do tend to be very skilled in the sphere of earth.
So perhaps that is why he was able to create the beast. That he tapped into the magics of his dwarven blood, and that allowed him to create this creature of stone and breathe life into it. Or maybe he channeled his fate as a devout priest, and the same faith and power that allowed him to raise that young boy from the dead allowed him to breathe life into this creature so that it could guard the cathedral.
Interesting. Forgive me my audacity. I was wondering if it would be possible to see the records at some point. Of course, under your supervision.
Yes. I'll need to. There. I will arrange to have them taken out of our archives, and if you and we can have an appointment in the bishop's palace, and you can read them then.
That would be amazing. Thank you so much.
Of
I really
course.
appreciate it.
No.
It's a big honor.
I'm delighted to meet a young lady who is interested in the scholarly pursuits. So,
You can really tell this guy is just like, oh my god, you're young and you're interested in this stuff. Oh my god, like, can I like, let me teach you everything. Oh
it's
my
like,
god.
when you have that English teacher in secondary school and they discover that you're an avid reader who loves books. It's that kind of vibe you're getting off.
I had an awesome language teacher when I was in school.
So Aminata, the Baron takes you by the hand and leads you onto the dance floor, and grasping you, the music starts, and he starts to effortlessly lead you around the floor. This guy is an exceptionally good dancer. Maybe not as good as you, but he's still a lot better than the average. As he's holding you, and like, you have your hands around this guy. This guy is built. This guy is chiseled marble. Oh yes, Daddy, yes, he is. Yes.
I mean, it's just like, just blissfully in
Oh yeah.
in bliss, just
Yeah.
kind of enjoying this whole experience.
Yeah.
But they would also, like, they are who they are, so they're going to obviously be scanning around, and they're probably going to see Justine kind of.
Well, no, you're going to give me an awareness roll to see if you spot Justine.
Let's see, where are my dice? Aha. Okay, so that is, I rolled a 14, and my awareness, keen eyes.
Yeah.
So that would be a 17.
Oh, you notice that Justine does seem to be like keeping track of you as you're dancing, but like that's all you're really spotting, you know? Okay.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, you're as I say, you're enjoying this,
Hmm.
this really great dancer, you like these like really strong grip, these really really cool hands as he's like as you're dancing with him, and he's like, so, Mademoiselle, it is so wonderful to see you again. Um, I was not sure if you were somebody who liked to go to many of these social events. I must say it is not something that I avidly seek out myself, but as I am new to the city, I felt it is the best way to get to know the people of the city.
That is a greater strategy as any. Like going to these events depends. As part of my work, it is unfortunately part of the job description to mingle with the population, rub the elbows, make the polite chit-chat, all of that stuff. However, I am also quite glad that you came to this one yourself.
Forgive me, you work. I thought you were simply the daughter of a wealthy family.
Oh, my family, while yes, I am the daughter of a wealthy family, my parents have very strong work ethic, and it is something that I take very seriously. And I actually work in the Mali embassy here in Paris.
Oh, that is good. My family, well, it was different. Different country, different time. I was raised very much to be as a nobleman, to be a strong leader for my people. But that it's as I said, that was in a country that is ruled by an outside power. That is not quite possible.
Uh, I'm sorry to hear that. And is that way of life something that you miss?
I do not know. Truth be told, I have traveled. It's been many years since I've been in my home country. I have traveled across Europe. I have met many different people,
Sure.
studied many things, and I do love to meet different people, different cultures. I will admit that it was part of what drew me to yourself. You are not the typical Parisian wallflower waiting to be plucked.
Oh, I was just gonna
Ooh
be
la
like,
la.
oh, okay, okay. I am consider me very much flattered, but also probably blushing a little bit. And I'm not doesn't blush easily. They're going to be like, "Oh, this is not one of the usual dudes."
No, this guy is
You
so.
think?
He is not what you're used to from wealthy Parisian men. Not at all.
Yeah, so he's not like that slimy sort of, oh,
No,
kissing off the knuckles.
no,
Okay, and
no,
I'll
no.
just be like,
You're you're
what?
you're you're getting very strong. Does not give a fuck what other people think. Vibes.
And I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
Amanada is just going to obviously blush a little bit and say, well, I suppose that is down to my mother. She's very much of a very strong presence in any room she's in, and she always encouraged me to, I suppose, take up space and not diminish myself for, I suppose, the affections of mere men
my
or mortals.
my mother was similar, a very strong woman who believed that a woman had more to offer life than strong sons to a husband.
Your mother sounds like an incredibly wise woman. I wish there were more of her ilk, especially in circles such as these,
Mm,
but you deal with the cards you are dealt, I suppose.
I must say, you're very strong, and it's kind of like it's almost like getting like sniffing at your scent. But it's like you have very strong Fey blood in you.
Uh, we, that is, if I'm not going to be like, is this dude really sniffing me right now?
Well,
Or,
maybe, but it's like yeah.
um, my mom she is a dryad.
Ah, your mother is true Fey.
We?
Oh, that is rare. Rare today. More common in the past.
Is
Well, in Europe, certainly.
Well, Amanada is going to just kind of think back because they would have, like, in Mali, they would have quite a close relationship with,
Yeah.
the Fae that existed there. So,
Well, you
to
you you would know, having been largely raised in France, that no, like anybody who's fate touched, it was like some distant relative generations back. You never have met someone say, "Oh yeah, my ma was an elf." Like that does not happen ever. It's always some great whatever
yeah, it's true.
had sex with, was married to some other fae.
Hmm.
It's always something in generations past.
True. Well, my mayor and my bear, they met at a politicians conference, and it became this whole love affair and stories, poems, all of that, and here I am.
Wonderful. I've never been to Africa.
Oh, it is beautiful. I know you've said you've traveled a lot and you love to learn more about cultures. Africa is so large, you cannot possibly summarize it in a few short sentences. You'd have to truly experience it yourself.
No, I've traveled much of Europe as well as the East. I have been to Constantinople. I have been to Damascus.
Mm.
But never traveled south into the African continent.
Well, if you're ever looking to go and would like to get in touch with a company who would get you there, make sure you're well settled, please do let me know. I can give you my details.
I would love to visit the fabled city of Timbuktu.
Oh, Timbuktu is, it's magical. There's so much in this world that a lot of people will never get to experience, and it makes me quite sad for them.
I can only
They'll
I can only imagine what the scholars of that city must be like as well.
Oh, they are they are very intense. The only one of the only other scholars I could think would absolutely thrive in that environment would be Justine, and Justine would probably never leave. The knowledge they have is quite astounding. Members of my family would have studied there, of course, those who did not go into the politics side of life. And from what I've heard, it is amazing, and it almost makes me wish that I was a scholar. But uh, my my joys lie in other such things.
You strike me as somebody who would prefer not to be spending the time reading books.
Ooh, it depends. I like to read. I love knowledge. Knowledge is one of my favorite things, but not necessarily the knowledge you find written down neatly in books.
Yes, but I feel that you prefer the knowledge you glean from talking to somebody, especially somebody who you can convince to loosen their tongue.
Monsieur, you are very presumptuous.
He's just reading you so well.
I know. I'm being read to felt.
Yes, he's like, oh my god, this guy is like shit. I mean, like,
Oh my god.
and he's saying it. There is no this is there's nothing in his voice of disagreement or disapproval when he says this either. He's like, this is just you. This is clearly who you are.
And I'm like, this is probably the first time anyone kind of in one of these things has actually just kind of like seen me.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not as one impressed, but also two is like,
I'm not a secret to just be made out of it.
Yeah, literally airing out my dirty pantaloons, good sir. How dare you? Amanada is just gonna be like, okay, well, you can learn quite a lot. It can be some of the most mundane things like a secret family recipe, or other slightly more tantalizing information.
Well,
and what about you, monsieur?
What of me?
What do you like? You seem very guarded, but also not too mysterious.
I do not know if I am guarded. I simply do not care for idle gossip and loose chit chat.
Isn't that what we're doing right now?
No, we're getting to know each other.
Oh, it sounds like you're talking about me quite a lot.
What would you like to know of me? What do I like to do? I must admit, I am an avid reader. I love learning new things about
Hmm.
the world, about people. I love to travel. I love to see new sights. To to enjoy the night sky in a new land is a wonderful thing. To know that it's the same moon and stars that we all see, but the twinkle and the glint seems different depending on what land you stand on.
Ooh, well, sure, you sound like quite poetic. Do you like to write?
Hmm. uh, That is not really where my skills lie. There are better, more skilled people at words than me.
And where do your skills lie? Are you a fighter? Do you fence?
Of course, I fence. I'm from a noble Bulgarian family. As a young boy, as soon as I learned how to walk, I had a stick in my hand.
And do you fence much with women?
It has not happened many times, no.
Hmm. Maybe that will need to change, no?
Hmm. Depending on the woman, that could be delightful.
Well, I'm quite gifted myself with
Considering how light you are on your feet, I imagine that you would be quite deadly with the blade.
it is one of my secret pleasures.
Wonderful. Well, I would love a dance of steel with you someday.
And I think I would enjoy that quite a bit.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, you're like still like you've had about like 4 or 5 dances at this point. You just like as the music ends and then it goes on the next song, you have just kept going as you're having this really, really great conversation with this really, really like he seems to be a pretty. He's not he's nothing like what you're used to from Parisian high society. This guy is
So he is
so
literally,
different to what you're used to from
he's a
Paris.
bad boy.
He might be. He might be.
I hope so. Aminata's always looking to get into a bit of trouble.
Perhaps. Yes.
Okay. Aminata's definitely going to start feeling guilty that, I've kind of just kind of abandoned all my friends for a bit, but they really don't want to stop dancing with the
We're
Baron.
fine.
So
They're going to look over, and if they see that you guys are okay, they're going to keep going.
yeah, I would like everybody to give me an awareness roll, please.
Yes, shit is popping off.
Justine?
3.
Okay.
Oh wow!
I got 7.
Oh God.
I
Gwynn?
got a 9.
Oh God! Somebody.
Can
Sorry, can I
roll
use
as
my
well?
inspiration dice?
No, you can add your inspiration die. Yes, please do.
I got a 22. Thank you very much.
Okay, so
Okay, well,
what did you get with the
11
inspiration?
now.
Oh no. Okay,
4.
so Aminata, you notice 2 things. One, your friends seem to be involved in a pretty like animated but like amicable and deep conversation with the bishop. But the other thing that you suddenly realize is you do not see young Astrid or Monsieur de la Cour anywhere in the room.
No.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
No!
Oh shit! No. Okay,
No!
Aminata is going to, as politely, but also make it very clear that they do not want to be disengaging from this little kind of like, I don't know, this dance sort of haze going on.
I'm
And
gonna
they're going
fight
to.
you again.
Oh, listen, absolutely. He's gonna get my details by pigeon, owl, whatever the fuck. He will get my details. But Aminata is gonna say, "Oh, Monsieur, apologies. I have to check on a friend. I promised their mother I would help look after them as they're not too familiar with the dance of these circles. I'm sure you could understand.
Of course. Please. Young ladies must be sure that they are behaving in the appropriate fashion in these social events.
Oh, it's not the young lady I am concerned about. Well, not her behavior, so to speak, but if you are still around when I come back, we can continue with where we left off?
That would be wonderful. And if you need some help with any young men, please just ask.
I will. Amanada's like, Amanada's just going to say, Monsieur, I can take care of any young men very well by myself, but if I do need your help, I know where to get you.
And he takes your hand and raises it up and to his cool lips and gives it a kiss.
Now, when you say cool lips, are we talking like dead cool?
We're talking dead.
I said cool.
He's a fucking vampire.
Check his pockets for dirt from his home country.
Because yeah, if he's cool to the touch, and we've been dancing for like 5 songs, and he's wearing all
this
those
is
fabrics.
the thing is like, as I said, this guy is like jacked. He is like seriously jacked. And even though you were dancing, he was not out of breath at all. This guy is like pristine physical condition.
He could just be fit,
breathe.
Yeah. Okay. I won't read too much into the coolness there. Amanada is going to like go towards the rest of the party, and as they kind of go by, like it's not like they beeline straight for them. They're heading that direction, and as they pass, they're just going to say, you know, Astrid is not in the ballroom anymore. And
I'd say Justine definitely knows that, because you had been kind of keeping an eye on Amanada. So when you see her break away and leading towards you with an nod, you're like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, and
Gwynn would have removed herself for air from the conversation between Sylvia and the Archbishop. Yeah. There was only so many times, considering how her family, her ancestors were burned at the stake by the church, that she could hear Sylvia professing to the Archbishop that she has magic. So she just went out the front for air.
Okay. So Gwyn's not there, but Justine and Sylvia, and Justine definitely would spot Amanada's nod.
Yeah. Sylvia doesn't, because she's engaged.
So will we say that just Justine goes off with Amanada because Sylvia is still in conversation with the bishop?
Well, she'd see Justine.
You see Justine starting to move off with Amanada, but you see she's gone off with Amanada. Do you want to stay with the bishop, or would you be like, oh, I'll go with my friends?
Yeah, she's gonna want to stick with her friends, because she doesn't want to be on her own. And
Justine is probably kind of like trying to catch Sylvia's eye anyway.
Cool. So you excuse yourself from the bishop, and you.
Yeah, basically, Monsieur. Maybe if we could talk again later. I just want to. I'm going to accompany my friends.
Lovely to have this delightful conversation with you.
Yeah.
You guys head out.
Yep.
So, like, this is the thing. You obviously weren't given a grand tour of the house. There's various doors off of the hallway. There is 3 doors on the opposite side of the hallway to where the dining room is, and then there's 1 door near the front entrance on the same side as where the dance hall is. So it's literally first, second, or third opposite, or the one on the same side.
We need Gwynn.
What? Okay, logistically speaking, like this would be Amanada's thinking. Where would somebody go if they were looking for privacy?
Any room.
Like one of the other rooms, maybe if there's a library or a drawing room or something like that, that would be where you maybe want to go.
Can I, before we do anything, can I discreetly send Anki to Gwynn and just tell her where we are?
Yeah.
Yeah, Anki arrives and Gwynn just starts to panic even more.
I think so. God,
That's
Sylvia's
suspended her into a full-blown panic attack now. Runs back inside as she's pulling out her scrying implements.
Okay, well, you run back inside and you see your friends standing in the hallway.
Okay, we are doing this right here. And Gwynn will pop down the parchment and use the iron filings and try and scry.
You're trying to locate Astrid?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. You cast a spell. They've obviously, having told you that Astrid's missing, you cast a spell, and the iron filings form into a map of the ground floor of Joséphine's house, and the pendulum starts over what you know to be the drawing room, which is one of the doors directly opposite where you are.
Okay.
She just crumples up the map and all the iron filings fall off and goes to the drawing room.
Mm-hmm. So you go, opening the door into the drawing room. You find yourself stepping into, it's a very nice room. It's about maybe 3.5, 4 meters by like 7, 8 meters. So it's kind of long, rectangular. There's like a very, very nice chaise lounge. There's some high chairs. There's like a side table with some bottles of sherry and things on that. Off to another side, there's some other tables and cabinets, and sitting on the couch in an amorous embrace, you see Astrid and Lorraine kissing. As you walk in, she jumps up, screams, and this is a perfect place to pause in her story.
That fucking snake! I knew he was going to be doing some shady business. He was too pretty.
Is this like going to be like Bridgerton, where if you go off alone with a guy, you're basically
Shocking.
Well, not probably as bad, but something like this would be a case of, okay, you guys were alone. It's time to put a ring on it. Exactly, which is not what we want for her. We don't know this dude. We don't know his family.
So I will say all they were doing was kissing.
Yeah,
still,
but nonetheless.
Still, we don't
is
know
anyone
going to
even believe us? Like, you know,
oh, they believe me.
Well, that's the thing. We can't tell anyone because then her reputation is going
absolutely
to
we won't. I'm gonna fuck him up though. He should have known better. He knew that she was a wee precious lamb.
Well, Gwynn did warn him that he was gonna get hurt real bad if he did anything.
I'm just gonna turn into a bear.
Yeah.
Yes, fire.
Scare him so much that he will never.
No, like I'm not gonna necessarily do anything, but like if Sylvia turns into a bear, hopefully it'll, put the shits up him.
Excellent.
Sorry, make him afraid. For like, I know Neil had said like he wanted this.
Aim for crying. We should aim to make him cry.
Yeah, but if he's an elf, he's not going to be bothered by Sylvia being a bear. But anyway, yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Even elves burn.
That is true. Oh, I'm so mad. Oh, this poor lamb. Oh, shit. I knew he was too good to be true. Snaky bastard.
Well,
he would know what would happen if something like this were to happen. He knew what he was doing, and he took advantage of her. That's
what age is he, ballpark, Neil?
Young 20s. He's about the same age as Astrid.
I mean, that's what he looks. I'm still on. This guy's a fucking elf.
Yeah. So young 20s, like 22, 23, maybe 24. It's hard to know because he's exceptionally pretty. Like think Timothée Chalamet levels of pretty, Yeah. It's that kind of pretty.
Yeah, that was okay. Whereas like the Baron is a man.
Oh, he's a man.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He is.
He's a man who read me for filth, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
He read you for filth, and you think you like it.
Yeah, no, I think
Yeah, it's like,
you,
oh. Tell me
You-
more about myself.
So,
you definitely seem like you were having a lot of fucking fun with that.
Thank you everybody for joining us on what was a very, very fun session. I always feel really nervous about these pure social RP sessions. I love RP so much, but as the GM, when you're juggling like potentially up to 10 different NPCs, you're always worried how it's going to go. But we had a lot of fun tonight. The Kickstarter is still live. There is just over 24 hours left, and we are just under 1,300 euros away from funding. There's been a rush of backers in these last 48 hours, so I am very hopeful that this time next week I can say that we have successfully raised the funds we need to publish my book and bring this world of folklore and fairy tale to life. But until then, thank you so much for joining us, and we shall see you all next week, same bad time, same bad channel. So good night all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.